Hi, it's Friday and time for Queen's Park and Ontario politics this week. The Ontario Legislature met for the first time since the June election. I've been busy setting up my MPP team and getting to know the ropes, and I'm very glad to be here with you. The debate and questions this week in the legislature included health care. The issue of air conditioning in long-term care homes came up. There were news reports that in July, 90 out of 627 long-term care homes in Ontario still have rooms or had rooms without air conditioning. Top of mind, the staffing crisis in hospitals that has been resulting in closures or rationing of service. And the issue of privatization of the healthcare system came up when Health Minister Jones, in answering a question from the reporter, she talked about reforms, innovations, and refused to rule out privatization. I think it's going to be important to have an articulate debate on this issue because parts of our healthcare system are private. A physician's practice, a pharmacist's store, those are both private. And it's really about whether the lack of ability to pay puts access to care or quality of care at risk. And it's not the existence of private service providers in our healthcare system. Government bills. This week, well, there was the throne speech. That's the speech given by the Lieutenant Governor. It gives the plans of the government for the next few years. I have to say that a lot of it was backward looking. Now, I'm happy that Premier Ford joined the federal Trudeau government to make large investments in cleaner electric arc steel production, in electric vehicle production, battery production. But the throne speech did not have anything new about some important issues: healthcare, cost of living, and climate change. The government this week reintroduced their old budget, which was developed during last winter and spring. The main thing that was new was that there was a 5% increase in the Ontario Disability Support Program. And that is wholly inadequate and unconscionable because people on ODSP, they may only have $300 left after they pay for housing. That's about $10 a day. And that hasn't been adjusted for many years, hasn't been adjusted for inflation. And with this year's very high inflation, especially for things that are essentials like food, it's really impossible. People are suffering and thinking about how they could possibly make it to the end of the month. The first new bill, was also introduced this week. This is Bill 3, Housing Minister Steve Clark's Strong Mayors Building Homes Act. For now, it applies only to Toronto and Ottawa, and it's controversial. John Tory, the Mayor of Toronto, is in favor of the bill. Jim Watson, the outgoing Mayor of Ottawa, was not in favor of the bill. So opinions are split. There are questions like, well, this bill is about giving the mayor veto power over council decisions in certain priority areas that are set by the province. Should the mayor have this kind of veto power that can only be overruled by 2/3 of the councillors? Should the mayor have the same vote as all the other councillors? That's the current situation. So this is one of the arguments in the other direction. Should the mayor have the same vote as all the other councillors, even though they were elected by a lot more people? But you could also argue, isn't it better to build consensus? Isn't that what politics is all about? You don't get to do things that easily. You have to go councillor by councillor and put together a consensus. Maybe you have to give up a few things, but that's how it works in our democratic system. And then you could ask the question, well, what if a strong mayor was incompetent? I think John Tory and Jim Watson are quite competent, but what if it's been known to happen, what if we elect an incompetent mayor? And my last point is that the way that this bill was introduced was undemocratic. The very first new bill introduced by this government is something that didn't come up in the election campaign, and that is just not the way things should work. Myself in the legislature, one of the things that happened, I was appointed the energy critic for the Liberal Party. I gave a speech in the debate over the throne speech. I gave a speech about energy. And I got the attention of the energy minister. Have a look.
Starting from the summer of 2025 onwards, because of the Pickering closure, we expect shortages of electricity on peak summer days. Actually, this year we had a problem just a few days ago in Belleville when the city told residents that there was a danger of rolling blackouts if they didn't cut their electricity usage. So this is a canary in the energy minister's coal mine. It's in his riding.
Minister of Energy is next.
The Liberals talking as much about energy as they are here today, to be quite honest, given their record. But the member did raise some important questions or did have some comments of importance.
Thanks for listening this week. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I hope to join you next week when I again talk about Queen's Park and Ontario politics.